Good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon, Dr. Mack.
Good afternoon, Pastor Shirley.
We're so happy that you're here with me today, that we're here together. It's another blessing. And we have some interesting topics today. Interesting topics today. So maybe Pastor Claudine will be in later. I did talk with her. We did have a conversation last night, and so she might be able to come in. I know she had an appointment, but I think it was earlier today. But we will see if she comes in, and if not, we know that she was preoccupied with with the business at hand.
And Overseer Dunn is still monitoring her heart. She'll be there until about 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So I think we're running down to maybe one more visit on Friday, and they
Oh,
should be able to give her a readout on how everything is going.
okay, okay. And we're believing and trusting that it's going to be in her favor. In the name of Jesus, dear God, thank you for blessing us to be here today. Thank you for giving us the voice to be able to express our concerns and be able to offer some suggestions and maybe some remedies for what is going on in this world today. We ask you to continue to be with us and continue to be with our families. And we thank you for everyone and ask you to bless and keep everyone in whatever way they need right now. In the name of Jesus, pray and give thanks to you. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. So we're just going to go. I'm going to read our questions, our suggestions here today. Read those. Let me get to them. All right. Here we go. Okay. Oh, I'm going back to one of yours. Here we go. Let me get to it here. Well, I'm going to have to. Here I go. Well, come on now. All right. Well, it keeps my mouth keeps moving it. Let me go up like this. I know how to fix this. I believe I do. Okay, Dr. Mac, do you have it before you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And
Okay.
number one, and I have to pull up the paper here.
Okay.
Um, do you agree or disagree um, with the 200 Christian leaders' um, actions uh, of no, non-denominations who call defending democracy a test of faith? Therefore, they are compelled to defend um, democracy because they see it as a test of faith. They see our religiosity as a test of faith. So, do you think these 200 Christian leaders, by the way, this just happened? Um,
Mm-hmm.
do you agree with them? They are non denominational. To get that many people together and agree on anything or disagree on anything is remarkable.
I mean, in whatever field they're in, huh?
Yes.
And especially the religious realm. I tell you, because so many have their own ideas about things. But like I said, when there's a common objector, I'll put it like that, or common opponent, then people get together to band against that common opponent. So, uh, do I agree with it? I read a little bit about it, but I would like to hear you elaborate on Dr. Mack while I pull mine up that I had. Please.
Okay. Well, I actually agree. And I'm thrilled to death to know that we can just cross denominational lines and not get stuck on doctrine to do something that's even greater or, or greater or more important than we normally would. Now,
Mm-hmm.
for me, um, this is it's just an affirmation that those of us in our faith believe that voting, the voting privilege was the initial issue. That we should be, as church folks, as Christian folks, we should be defending the right to voting freedom. We should be doing that. We should be defending what democracy originally stand for. We don't believe we should go out and redo the Constitution. Now you've heard that a lot in the last few months talking about reworking the Constitution. But we have
Mm-hmm.
Constitution. So let's leave it at that. This whole idea of Christian nationalism, um, I'm not saying it's bad, but it's usually preceded with the word of white Christian nationalism, where they want the church to become more involved in the legislative actions, and we're seeing that from one side, um, who expect to receive all the votes from the evangelicals, as it were. But to have read some of the comments, for example, the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol,
Mm.
you know, they these 200 people believe that that was not right, and that in a way, guess what? It was a sin. Okay, we're not applauding these people. We're not saying, "Oh yeah, go on, keep doing it." No, we're saying stop it because you want to stand in the way of just regular people doing things. And you know what it brought to mind, Pastor Shirley?
Uh-huh.
This comment we heard a few months ago about, if you vote for me in this election, you remember you will not have to vote again.
Uh,
So these 200 people are saying, if we don't defend the voting freedoms that we have, if we don't defend the actual concept of democracy, guess what? Guess what's going to happen to us? We're going to run into a dictatorship. We're going to run into people who believe that we're going to do this because I said we're going to do it, but I can't really say it's for the good of you all. It's just going to be for the good of me. So,
mhm.
with that kind of leadership, if we don't really want it, um, it takes a while, but we have to go out and fight for these freedoms that we already have, and we have to fight to maintain these freedoms that we have. And it was just great to hear this religious body just across the body, and the females and the men. There wasn't any of this, because she's a woman, pastor kind of stuff. No, it's just right. It's just what should be done.
Uh-huh. Yep, and I agree, and I hope that they can keep it together among themselves because there are so many differences. But anytime anyone gets together and they work together for what we feel is right, I'm all for it. But I want people to really be mindful of who they listen to and what they're saying.
Absolutely. And what you just said is what they said. This is not just for the election period. They wanted to outlive the election, that it
Right.
becomes part of our life, part of our, when it's wrong, it's wrong.
When it's wrong, it's wrong.
It's wrong.
That is so true. So thank you so much for that topic suggestion, Dr. Bag. Thank you. That was wonderful. Number two, another one you sent in. Do you agree or disagree with the decision of the judges regarding guns being allowed in the State Fair of Texas? No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with them allowing guns from the uh, patrons, the fairgoers. I just don't believe they should allow that. And because it's already bad enough as it is with people getting them in there before they even allow them in there. So it's just going to me, it's just, I'm just leery about even going to the fair now.
Well, actually, when he handed down his decision yesterday, I was pleased because he stayed with the city of Dallas by saying that, they don't need to, I don't care if you have concealed carry, you don't need to have guns on the fairground. I mean, you and I both remember how many people, the crowd, that's really the issue that we have here, here is the crowd, you know, and what the underlying issue, not because I have a concealed carry, but it's the perception of safety, you
Hmm.
know, the perception of safety,
Right.
you know, and why I need to have this particular gun. Do I only feel safe when I have this gun? Not thinking that there are mothers and fathers and kids and seniors and everybody out there.
Hmm.
So you have to
So,
take a look at the person, the characteristics of the gun owner, you know, because if you get somebody who mentally says, "I gotta have this gun," even in church, that's. I'm sorry. Were you about to say something?
Oh no, go ahead because I was going to say I didn't listen to anything about it yesterday. So you're saying that they are not going to be
He
allowed?
agreed with you. He agreed with you. We don't need guns on that planet.
Okay, all right.
He agreed. But when you said it, I smiled because I thought to myself, "My goodness, she's very intuitive this morning." But no, we don't need to have them on there because if you don't understand the temperament of the person who has a gun, if we don't understand the mental health of the person who has a gun, and if we don't understand the need for that particular gun, that person who's carried a gun, what do you
Yes,
intend to do with the gun? Why do you need this particular gun? So, or any gun. But then there's that whole thing. Research has been done on persons who carry in crowds, and they found out that really the concern is really from those who have concealed carry permits, and they found out that sometimes if it's a new person, a younger person who's doing it for the first time, it's really more dangerous because what he or she thought feeling the crowd, they become overwhelmed, they become overstimulated, and that's an opportunity for something really bad to happen.
yes.
Why would you carry guns in a crowd? Well, I have, you'll carry your gun if you want, but not in a crowd, not in a crowd.
And the deal is, like you might have mentioned, why do you want to do that? If you carry it, that means to me that you're expecting something. And so something, if you even think something is happening that might be threatening, but it might not be anything like that. But then once they react with the gun and a tragedy has happened, whatever it is, they cannot call it back. And so there's so many people are so anxious to carry these guns and to be shown with the guns, and I have a gun and I'm this and that, and you don't bother me because I have permission and I can just do whatever I want. I can shoot you if I have to. So don't. And some people carry a chip on both shoulders if they have those weapons, just looking for something to happen. Not saying everybody, but some people. And then I realized that sometimes it would have been good for people to have had that protection at the time that they might have needed it. So
Needed
there,
it.
it's just like, what is that? Six in one hand and a half dozen on the other.
Yeah.
But it's dangerous, like you're saying, around all of those people, and you're waiting and expecting something to happen, and then when it's done, it's just over.
It's that mental health part. Now, for your home, having the gun at your home, yeah, I sort of I understand that, because it's for the safety. You want your home, you want to protect your home and your family. But
Exactly.
they're going to have hundreds of police, hundreds of peace officers, and regular police and undercover people, you
Ye-
know,
yes.
and but if you think something is going to happen bad, it usually does. It becomes a self fulfilling prophecy. I mean, you leave your home, and I'm going to South Dallas, and the reputation of the people in South Dallas, you get into all of that mess. You don't need to. South Dallas is just another place where people live who've been not given a good chance at some things.
And it's just the rest of the city is just as vulnerable and
Like,
what subject to violence, just like South Dallas is.
absolutely.
You know, and so there's no difference in the people and their attitudes and what their motives are for doing whatever they're doing. It's all the same. Say, I can't say. I won't say what that judge said. El Davis said the judge told someone one time, said a blank is a blank and a blank is a blank. Well, however you see it, it is what it is, one way or the other.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Just
Yes.
come and enjoy the fair, and just remember there are other families out there, regardless of color, whatever, religious persuasion. They're all there to enjoy the fair. It comes once a year, and
Mhm.
it's fun. I mean, we used to go every Saturday, to the Bayou, not the Bayou Classic, the State Fair Classic. Never had any trouble. Sometimes we get
Hmm.
home and they would say, "Oh, there was a shot," and you were, like we would be sitting in the section where a table fell, not a
Uh-huh.
shot. But people are just anticipating something bad. Don't just go and enjoy. Once a
Yes.
year, go and enjoy,
Enjoy
and
the fair.
put your trust in God. You're going to go out there. You're going to have a good time, and the Lord watches over all of us.
Right.
All of us.
Right. And who's to say if you have a gun, it's going to turn out in your favor anyway? You know, people
Yes,
don't look at every side of it. People don't look at every side of it.
and
So,
here
say it again, please.
I was also going to say, usually, like the incident last year at the fair where there was a shooting in the food court, that situation started outside the fair. These people knew each other. You understand what I'm saying? And then
Hmm.
the question was never answered. How did he get the gun through, quote unquote, all of the metal detectors and other safety devices? But if I'm just saying we need to work the neighborhood so we can stop some of this foolishness that causes people to shoot in the wrong place. Well,
Yes.
causes them to shoot, period.
Right. But it'll
Find
never,
another
right. But it will never be completely controlled, but they don't need to give it the ammunition. You know, they don't need to give it, make it easier for people to be able to do some of the things that they're doing maliciously. And then
place.
sometimes it's not malicious, but like I said, sometimes people can read a person, like you were talking about the mental state, and not just for the person that has a gun, but somebody who might not have a gun. Don't know
Right.
what kind of condition they might have, because people with certain mental conditions and things and like that, and health conditions that cause them to act a certain way, those people are taken to the fair. And what if they just happen to do one of the things that they do during whatever they have, that sickness or illness or whatever, and then somebody gets offended, and here we go.
There you go.
There's
And you
some.
and you said you can't call a bully back. My mom's friend used to say, "Now, baby, bullies just don't have no name. They, you know, if there is shooting anywhere, get down and
Mhm.
get out if you can.
If you can, that's for
But
sure.
let's
My,
just pray it becomes a successful endeavor. Leave a lot of money for the city, which it always does. Bring some joy to persons who enjoy
mhm.
and just being out and smelling the food and hearing the rides and enjoying the concerts you
Yes.
know and most of all supporting the schools.
Just enjoy. That's what we go out there for, to have a great time. And I'm already debating, am I going? I want to go, and I'll probably try to get out on one of the least busy days, and whenever that might be. Who knows? But I was thinking I might go toward the beginning of the fair rather than try to wait until closer to the end of it. But
Well,
we will see. All right, I would like to go. All right, talking about Miss Jasmine Crockett. What are your thoughts on her latest news clip?
I'm
Latest
gonna
one.
ask that you start that one. Okay.
I saw it. It was sent to me, and I listened to it, and I said, "All right, all right." She is on it. She is up to date on the things that are happening. And I would say she is really doing and representing us like we are supposed to be represented. And I trust and pray that she continues with that zeal that she has, and she's operating with knowledge. She's not just talking and talking, she knows what she's talking about. And so and she's intelligent with it, and she's very witty. She's very, and I like that. And then what she's saying and telling the truth. And then people are not, I mean, she's not just cutting people's heads off. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Yes,
Uh,
I do.
figurative, figuratively speaking. but she's telling the truth. And then she was talking about, because they're always talking about, well, they said they were going to do this, they didn't do that, they didn't do that, and she just ran it down.
Yep.
And she talked about, and we know that during that debate, the GOP candidate said that he was not familiar with that. What is that, 2025? That
Yeah.
what it is?
Project 2025.
Didn't know. And she said yesterday, well, when I watched the clip, she said, which was yesterday, that
Yes.
that man, his name is in there over 300 times.
312 to
And
be
he said
exact.
right, he has
Two-
nothing to do with it.
312.
Said he had nothing to do with it. And so, but people with like minds tend to stick together. We know that.
Yes.
Yeah, because we have like minds. Of course, we're going to stick together. But I'm saying, even when the people are wrong, if they believe what they say, they are going to stick with them. You can put the truth in front of them and pin their eyes open and let them see it, and then give them proof, physical proof, like an example that this is what's going on. No, 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 that's not it. So I'm telling you, it's just amazing how we knew all of this was going on, but then the last, what is it, 8, 12 years,
Uh-huh.
this has really come to fruition, where people would rather believe a lie than to believe the truth. And the scripture says that the wisdom of the wise will be turned backwards. Those who are really wise people, their wisdom is just as backwards can be. And then they have a goal in mind. And you were talking about dictatorship, wanting to run everybody's mind. And then I want to go back to this, the religious leaders. There's a lot of that in there too.
Yes.
There's quite a lot of that dictatorship in there, and for judging the people and running people's lives and all of that. That's why I'm so skeptical about a lot of things,
Yes.
a lot of things. And so, you know what, it all boils down to it that we just have to pray, because we believe in God. We have to pray and depend on the God that we believe in. And
Absolutely.
whatever other people think and who they trust in or what they trust in, we just have to pray for them that they'll be included in the help that we get. And so she is really on point, and she ran down about the internet
Oh
in
yes.
Italy, Texas, and all of those places. She said so much, and they were all facts. FACTS. And Ella Davis used to say, "Let the record speak for itself."
Herself. In fact, she used the phrase that this is fact. It is not fiction. It is fact, not fiction. What she did, yes, she she had these people in front of her, and I you look down at the border, and it was saying the failures of the Biden Harris
Hmm.
administration. They were pointing out the failures of it, but she said that here we have a candidate who has an active plan, not a concept for plans to come in the future, and
Right.
not that's going to continue on into a coup. And I just sort of smiled when she said that. And she was talking about the things that the high speed internet that you had reference to,
Yes.
and she says, okay, we have had $42 million allotted, and the gentleman was trying to speak. I think his name was Carr. He just kept on trying to speak. She said, no, no, no. You know, he was trying to say, well, we haven't implemented it, but what she was saying, but you said that no money had been put there. $42 million is a lot of money. And the lady who was there was talking about the pandemic,
Hmm.
inflation, and then she was tying it to the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
And Miss Crockett got her to say, okay, look, was it just the U.S. and inflationary problem caused by the pandemic, or was it a global problem? You know,
You surely did, didn't
yeah,
you?
the nice little lady had to say, well, it was global. Yes,
Yeah.
it
She
was.
had to come on out and say it.
Yeah, you gotta say it because she's putting it there. So they she was upset a little bit. Well, she was more than upset. Here we're going back to this. That was the infrastructure of the internet, but
Mm-hmm.
the DEI part of it got me
Uh-huh.
because it's they have voted that you don't have to do that anymore, and there's research being done now that you have gotten back. You know, it's not just Roe versus Wade that you got back, but it's more than that. If you're saying that there are no quotas and you don't need quotas, I have to tell you, we may not have what we as a group, we may not have what we need when we get there, but I assure you, we will work very hard to do that and more. I don't understand why people can't look at something like the Olympics, which is global,
Mm-hmm.
global, and see that that mixture there brings you success. You couldn't have sent one group of Americans over there of the same ethnicity and gotten the results that you got. It had to be a mixture. Even in the Paralympics, the same thing is true. So if you don't want to talk about DEI, it's sort of like we used to say back home, you know, if you ain't gonna help me, don't stand in my way.
Right.
You know, if you let me get my foot in the door, I assure you, I may not know a thing about rugby, but give me a chance and I'll learn it and I'll be very good at it. I've never done polo. I love horseback riding, but I've never done polo. But
Mm-hmm.
give me a chance. Open
That's
the
it.
door.
That's
Open the
it.
door. So you want to stand there and spout your silly stuff, you know, well,
Mm-hmm.
they are only there. Uh, the Democratic candidate is only there because she satisfies two categories. President Biden chose her because she's female and that she is multi-ethnic. But I don't think that's why he chose her. I think he chose her because she was qualified. And this is what Miss Crockett ended it with: the single-minded, unqualified. She went on to go with that kind of commentary. Um, what she did is she sort of took a hard look at the people who were writing Project 2025.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much in there. I've not finished reading the whole thing because it disturbs me. I have to read a
Yeah.
little bit and stop. And I understand that it is a product of a think tank. And I don't want to hear President Obama had a think tank, President Bush had one. Okay, they didn't alarm me as much. You know, President Clinton had a group of people he considered think tank people. But when you hear some of these things, you go, okay, are we talking about what has already happened? Are you trying to bring that back? When we're talking about not going back, how far back are we talking about here? We have to be very careful with that.
Yes.
So Miss Crockett just brought evidentiary proof that
Mm-hmm.
okay, you cannot say that I agree. Everything that was proposed, we
Mm-hmm.
know for sure it was blocked on the floor of the House. We know that. you know, but you can't say the whole administration is a fake. You cannot. And that's what she did. She had her documents and they were all accepted. All of them. Not one was called bad. But she's got her style, but her style is backed up by her facts. So I'm good with that. You know, I'm good with that.
Oh, yes, ma'am. And then I wanted to open it up and just say, what is your major concern of the day? What whatever it could be in politics, current events, sports, whatever. Is there something that is you would like to talk about today? It could be in,
Oh, can it be about the pawpaw fruit?
it could be about whatever you want to talk about.
I thought about. I know Shirley has no idea what a pawpaw fruit is. She's probably never eaten one, so we are not going there with that. But on a more serious note, I am concerned that, well, it sort of breaks down. Chief Eddie Garcia announced his departure on yesterday in November 3rd and November 4th, and he's going to Austin, and he's going behind the city manager who was here,
Rodney, right?
Mr. Rodney. So
Mhm.
he's going to be um,
His assistant.
not not a not a uniform law enforcement, but he's going to be it. it's a promotion. And I do love what what all of the officers and those persons who work with him, I do love what they said. He stayed here, and we are talking, he's walking away from $390,000 with incentives to go down there. So goodness gracious, what are they paying him? But um, he did have an organized way, and as they begin their search for the new police chief, I hope they remember that the city of Dallas is not a divided city. Response time in the north should be the same as response time in the south.
Should
And
be.
you have to put someone in there who has worked with everyone. One of the things that made him effective is that he was one who was aware of how to work. And if it was a mistake, he came out and said it. If it was a good thing, he came out and said it.
Hmm.
And he did promote women officers, which is something, and it was done regardless of, you know, color.
Right.
So that has to be filled. But in addition to that, Mr. Broadbeck's position here as city manager has not been filled. You have an interim city manager. She's good, but you need to go ahead and get those two positions, which are very high level. And I
Right.
think I'm not a soothsayer, but I figure our mayor will be the next one to jump ship. But the mayor of Dallas will be the next one to jump ship. But you need to get that together. So you would have taken care of this part, the upper part of it, so you can work it on down.
Hmm.
Safety in schools is still something that really, really works on me, and it cannot be done by the schools. It has to be done by everyone. You can't up and say, well, they got to do more, put more officers in the school. You just have more bodies in the hall. That is not, be aware of when arguments are starting in the neighborhood. Most of
Hmm.
it can be stopped in the neighborhood. And it just, but we're going to have Pastor, Reverend so and so talk to them. These kids don't go to church, so when are they going to talk to them? You want to get out there, boots on the ground kind of thing. So those things do bother me.
Yes.
How
Yes.
about you?
Those are legitimate and they are good things. And I read that suggestion about Chief Garcia, and I said, good for him.
Yeah.
Whatever makes him happy, more power to him. Because he, as far as I know, he's done a great job here in Dallas, as much as he could possibly do. Because one person can't control everything, but I believe he's, as far as I know, he's been a great leader of the police department. Like you said, he'll come out and he'll admit whatever needs to be admitted, right or wrong. And I like that. And I'm glad that he's moving on. And I'm sure that he would not leave here without the perks that he wants.
But that was his goal. There were many comments saying that he wanted to, to move away from the, boots on the ground law enforcement
Mhm.
into the administrative. So now he has four areas that he will be overseeing. You got your police, your emergency, including Homeland Security. You know,
Mhm.
that's a big deal there. Austin is the capital, which makes it a major target, makes it a major target for things that would not happen, say, in Tyler, or would not happen in Abilene, or Wichita Falls, or
Mhm.
even the Panhandle. So
Mhm.
I'm happy to see him going.
Yes.
If that and his family's okay with it, that's
Uh-huh. As long as they are happy, I am happy with them. And I'm pretty sure that he has a long-term goal in mind. And I
hmm
don't think he's going to stop there.
not there. Huh?
There's something else in the works, and I trust and pray that he will be happy and that he will do the job that needs to be done wherever he goes. Godspeed, I bid him.
Yes.
Okay, and
What's on your mind?
uh, I think about yesterday I did a, uh, a webcast on waiting on the other shoe to drop, waiting on the next shoe to drop, or we living in the present. And there are so many people in this world who are under stress. They're trying to make it from day to day. just trying. Some people, it seems like they try, the harder they try, the more behind they get. And it seems like they're failing more. They feel like they're failing. But I want to say to the people, as a matter of fact, it said that the population, people in the population worry. They're worrying about what's going to happen instead of living in the moment and enjoying what's going on right now, because for certain we don't know what's going to happen in the next picosecond, whatever the fraction of a second there is, we don't know. But I want to encourage people to live in the moment and soak in all of the joy and happiness that you possibly can and gather that in, because it said that we worry about so much, waiting on the other shoe to drop. And of course, they said the other shoe uh, dropping comes from when people in New York and Chicago, they had these these buildings that they made, and the bedrooms were stacked on top of each other in these buildings. And so when a person would come in from work, one of the rumors said they'd pull off their boot or their shoe and they would drop it on the floor. And so they hear one drop, and then everybody was anticipating the next shoe drop because they felt like, hey, it's definitely got to come. And so they're anticipating so they won't be surprised when it does drop. And so they said that's where it came from. But it says that 85% of the concerns that we have, worry and the anxiety and all of that, that we're expecting or waiting to happen, 85% of those things do not come to fruition, the things. And so that's 15, was it 15? Yes, percent of the things that we worry about might happen because something's going to happen, but we worry about it. But 85% of the things that we worry about are not going to happen. So I just want people to chill out, just relax, and enjoy the moment. And then it said, breathe, breathe, breathe in, and it said exhale longer than you inhale. And feel that and be in the now. That's what I want people to do. Realize that you're living in the moment and enjoy the moment. There was an example about one lady. Whenever she go to a beautiful place, she said, "Oh, I'd love to come back here another time." And the person that was with her was thinking, they wouldn't say it to her, but just why don't you just enjoy it while you're here
Right
now
here.
instead of being concerned about coming back? And so I just want everybody to just take deep breaths, inhale and exhale, and live in the moment.
It reminds me of Paul's writing in the New Testament. You
Mm-hmm.
know, about not worrying so much about tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think um, we've gotten to the point where we have to have all these stresses, and we talked, I believe, last time about the adult stresses. You know, keeping up with the Joneses, which we don't talk about anymore, but we still try to do it. Um, we have to have the latest technology. We have to have gone to the latest places for vacation. Those of us who don't really take vacations anymore, but there are a group that still does. You know, we just have to stop. And I like the stop and smell the roses
Oh yes, yes.
because it's not given. You know, tomorrow isn't given to you. So
No,
just enjoy today and do the best you can to watch others. Do
right.
the best you can to watch others.
Spread the love. Spread the love. Oh yes. So would you like? You have anything you'd like to close out with, Dr. Mack?
Well, I've covered the situations that I didn't cover. I always worry about the health situation, you know, current epidemics, especially some that we don't talk about because they don't concern me. I also worry, but the truth is they do indirectly, you know, for those health uh, things that we don't talk about or acknowledge, like MPOX. We don't talk about MPOX, but it's in our ethnic group. It's all over. I have a very wise friend who says, "Well, do you think you can poison the water over here and it's not going to flow on down into your water. There's no way to cut that off. So we're not talking about it, but I hope persons are being treated for it if they need to be treated for it.
Right.
We have the situation with AI. Um, we like to think in terms of, well, the mother's board, we like to think of using AI for good, but we have to acknowledge that AI can be used for bad. And when President Biden had the United Arab Immigrants leaders, and he had the Sudan leaders, and I was really pleased to see the Sudan leaders there, and the leaders from Gaza. You know, are
Yes.
we in some way going to let this get into a situation where the chips, the AI chips, fundamental chips, basic principle chips, wind up in the hands of someone who's going to use it for weaponry to destroy us? I
Mm.
am concerned about what happened with Hezbollah and the pagers. You know, you had children involved. You are targeting one group, but here we go. That bullet has no name. So whether or not a child was going to be standing near that exploding pager was not a great concern. We just have to think in terms of being better with one another, being kind to one another, and caring about one another.
Yes.
So it's just it's just a lot, but this gives us the format to talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Just we want to help whoever we can, whenever we can, and however we can. By the words, words are very powerful. And if people would take heed to the words that they hear, I think we would be in a more better position as far as relationships with one another. And of course, we know that it is written that it will not get any better, but it's not written that we can't do better ourselves.
Right.
So, anyway, so that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Mack. We won't, well, as they said, we won't belabor the time. But I
We
have
covered
really,
it all. We did cover it all.
oh, yes, we did. Yes, we did. And I am so, so glad to be with you again today. And thank you for the suggestions for the topic discussions. And I want to say happy birthday to all of the birthday uh, celebrants, to the anniversary celebrants. And just want to encourage everyone and let you know that if you don't have it instilled in your mind, indelibly, you are special, you are important. Nobody is more important than you. So take care of yourself, and then you'll be able to help others. So that's what I want to say about that too. I said happy anniversary, happy birthday. Everybody is somebody special, and then of course I've got some news about some Denison natives who have gone on into eternity. And so we're praying for the Moore family, and then his in-laws also, because I believe I read the email right that Frank left us, and people ought to know my language by now. When I say left us, I mean he is gone into eternity. And then they said a couple of days later, his wife. So we're praying for them, their families. So, and all of the other bereft people also. We want everybody to know that we don't just talk, but we think about you and we care for you. And you can always reach us. Dr. Mack's email address is,
Oh, Lighthouse WMAA@yahoo.com.
and mine is, I think it's S Polk D at, let me see. I think one is s.p_davis@yahoo.com. And so you can find us on the web. And thank you everybody so much for being with us right here on the Mother's Board. And God willing, we'll start it all over next week if the Lord delays his coming. and He blesses us to still be here, able to function properly. And so I love you, Dr. Mac.
Love you too.
Enjoy your
Don't
day.
forget to do the announcements about the weekly podcast.
Okay,
Your
go, you want to go ahead and
Well,
uh,
I invite you to join us on Wednesday or from the Biblical Files of Dr. Mack. This when the coming Wednesday, we'll be working in the book of Daniel. We'll be looking at the character of Bernice as far as women in the Bible, as far as blacks or Africans in the Bible. We're going to look at the fact that she was an Egyptian at the time. We'll have a good time, and I thank you for your support in the past. Tell others. Join us. Pastor Shirley?
all right, thank you, Dr. Mack. On tomorrow night, which is Saturday at 7:39 p.m., is Saturday evening Bible lesson session at Greater Gospel Temple and Inspiration of God Ministries. On Sunday morning at 7 a.m. is a Sunday morning Manna from Heaven, Greater Gospel Temple and Inspiration of God Ministries. On Tuesdays and Thursdays is Point of View with Miss Shirley Polk. And you heard Dr. from the Biblical Files of Dr. Mack, and we're going to do it all over again if the Lord says the same. We
Yes.
love you, everybody, and
Thank
please,
you. Thank you.
yes, yes, enjoy the remainder of your day,
Day.
night, evening, afternoon, whichever it is, and whatever year you're in. It could be 2034, 2035, whichever one it is, or 2024. Just enjoy and remember you are special and important.